Everyone agrees that modeling success expedites your journey to the, quote, promised land, unquote, of achievement. Today, we will examine the man that was so successful that his name is synonymous with genius. Now, if you're not an Einstein just yet, you may want to pay attention. We're back with Project Eli once again, where we educate, lead, and inspire. And I'm Eli's dad, your humble host. Shall we examine some of Einstein's thoughts about life and how to live it, and see if we may interpret the mindset of a genius? If success leaves clues, this seems like a profitable enterprise. Follow along as Eli and I discuss the mindset of the great man through his own words. Now, Eli, as I was looking for a particular quote attributed to Albert Einstein to make a point, I stumbled onto a site that had 400 or so of his quotes. I was astounded how many there were and how far-reaching they were. This was especially true in the venue of what it takes to become a success. Certainly, as a scientist, Mr. Einstein is recognized as one of the greatest visionaries that ever lived. When you examine his thought process, how he got there, that too is enlightening. Let's begin with these two thoughts. Any fool can know. The point is to understand. And the only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. Now, this particular subject is near and dear to me, Eli. It seems to me that our education system is focused upon the regurgitation of facts and the suppression of creativity versus exposing the how-tos, whys and becauses, and encouragement of creativity. You see, Eli, it's much simpler and easier to measure things when they're black and white. Clearly, the scientific Einstein was constantly in search of nature's laws with which he could base his theories. He sought laws that would act consistently and without prejudice. His mindset dictated, however, that to arrive at consistent scientific conclusions, you must first expand your thought process to visualize what might be, to see what can only be seen in your imagination. That the starting point for achievement is to visualize the finished product that is yet to be created. When one ponders this method, this mindset, it becomes difficult to grasp because it's so paradoxical. That is, in order to discover black and white scientific natural law that acts consistently without prejudice, you must first apply imaginative gray area theory as your means to advance yourself from point A to point B. Further, when you conceive the imagined end result in your mind's eye, there must be an unflappable belief that it can be achieved. Now, Einstein's point is that facts alone are not understanding, and that understanding is the only way to make progress. The emphasis of education should be understanding the how-tos and the whys and becauses and the encouragement of creativity, and not merely the regurgitation of facts. Now, here are some more connected thoughts. If you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. His eyes are closed. The search for truth is more precious than its possession. Now, when we are children, Eli, we spend roughly 2/3 of our time using our imaginations. There's a clue there. Nature intended us to not only use this power for advancement, but encourages us to continually advance this skill, the ability to imagine, to further our progress. Instead of encouraging the use of our imaginations in our schools, we advance the doctrine of conformity. Why? Because it gives more behavioral control to those in charge. Is there a way, a method, to keep institutional behavioral control without inhibiting creative, imaginative thinking? Our schools are conforming the imaginative power given to us by the universe into extinction. When you are continuously discouraged from creative thinking in favor of accepting, quote, mainstream, unquote, paradigms unconditionally, you greatly inhibit the subconscious mind, the creative part of our brains, from performing at a maximum level. How? Because the conscious mind is the gatekeeper to the subconscious mind. If you're being constantly told to adhere to a certain mindset repetitively, the conscious mind denies entrance to the subconscious with imaginative thoughts that aren't congruent with the mainstream. Excuse me. Einstein recognized this shortcoming as a major inhibitor to the use of our imaginations. We must seek to unlock society's handcuffs on our creativity through conscious repetition of our imaginative thoughts. We must make a conscious effort to capture these imaginative thoughts to further the cause of mankind. It is through conscious, repetitive recital to our conscious mind that we are able to slip past the gatekeeper and enter the venue of the subconscious creative mind. It is through the emotion of positive belief that we add wood to the bonfire of imagination and turn our creative juices into a raging inferno. And to those that no longer seek to use their imaginative skills and pause and wonder in awe, they are destined to live their lives with their eyes closed on a treadmill of mediocrity. It is the continued search for imaginative solutions and concepts that irrigates our souls and quenches our thirst. Without this passion to search, we merely exist like a patient kept alive by a machine. There are shallow breaths being taken, but there is no discernible spirit. The next quote of Einstein's that I want to consider, quote, "When I'm judging a theory, I ask myself whether, if I were God, I would have arranged the world in such a way. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself." Unquote. Now, if we can agree that there is order and logic to the universe, can we also agree that there must be a planner that created it this way? If that is the case, which is supported by acknowledging that nature's laws act with consistency and without prejudice, we may also assume that the universal planner seeks to act in a cooperative manner to help us achieve. Now, we, among all of the earth's creatures, were bestowed with the special gift that enables us to build upon the knowledge gained by previous generations, to store knowledge, to begin with an ever-advancing starting line, to accumulate, and to build. As it is written in Genesis, and I quote, "Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." We are directed by the universal planner to advance the condition of mankind. In the beginning, as they say, there weren't many distractions to grab our attention. All that existed was a singleness of purpose, a definiteness of purpose, to accomplish a particular goal or objective. These goals usually were accompanied by emotional feelings for achievement. All the physical and mental powers of man were laser focused on a singular achievement. Thinking was simple. Physical action was simple. The success formula was simple. There were no distractions. Eli, have we strayed a bit from these truths? Have we complicated a simple formula? Are we ignoring obvious laws that a cooperative-seeking universal planner gave to us to, quote, multiply and become fruitful, unquote? As a parent, or as a parent-to-be, as a planner yourself, raising children, don't you want to start with simple, to start with easy, to advance progress? If you were the planner and you wanted to encourage progress, wouldn't you design a system that was simple, that was easy, and that was consistent? Could you make the system any easier and simpler than saying, if you think about something that you want, if you envision the end result, and if you are emotionally attached to its completion, I, as the planner, will help you achieve it. Now, the words conceive, believe, achieve are not written here per se, but they are certainly implied. Why do we complicate something designed to be so simple? Heaven only knows. Now, we've begun to look into the mind and mindset of an Einstein, the Einstein. Next time we get together, we will continue to examine and relate his thoughts and utilize them to help us achieve more. A clear part of your genius is to subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you'll be notified of new chapters from the book of Project Eli. If you approve, please tell your friends and advance the like icon one notch. Our thought for the day is from, guess who? Albert Einstein. Quote, "At any rate, I am convinced that he does not play dice." Unquote. And because we never end our meeting on a philosophical note, get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.